For all of that, we're meeting Gareth Jones to share his shocking story. Over the course of 9 months, Gareth was subjected to physical, emotional and financial abuse by his girlfriend, Sarah Rigby.
Earlier this month, she pleaded guilty to controlling and coercive behaviour, and she was given a 20-month sentence, suspended for 2 years. Gareth joins us now to share his story. Gareth, good morning to you. Thank you for coming in. It's a very difficult thing to have to relive this. It was a while ago for you to go through first time round, and I'm sure you've been able to piece back your life in terms of taking control of it personally. But we want to go back, because I know it's really important you share this story for lots of people who are out there. Tell us about when you first met Sarah, what that relationship was like.
Well, obviously we met firstly online, and I mean, to begin with, everything is just as you would expect. I think a normal relationship to go. You just get to know each other, what your likes, your dislikes, just general in terms of a general dating relationship, and you go on a couple of dates, and everything seems to be just general to begin with, and just as if you were getting to know somebody, just as I suppose the online dating world is nowadays. It was very kind of overpowering, and when I look back at it now, I think they call it love bombing.
Yes.
So it was kind of very kind of affectionate, a lot of affection towards me, and you kind of think, oh, how can this person, that really is, these things are going to work, and I think, yeah.
Was it quite overwhelming, the amount of attention, the amount of affection that she was showering you with?
Yeah, definitely.
Not something you'd experienced previously?
No. I think it was because of that kind of overpowering side of things that you kind of get sucked into it all more and think, wow, things are going to work out here for the long run, because it's so unbelievable and so that overpowering side of love, I think, to begin.
And everybody wants it as well. You want things to work out. So when, for you, did you first kind of feel a bit of a red flag? Was there a catalyst moment where you were like, actually, this relationship feels a bit different, not quite right?
Well, we had a kind of argument around the end of the summer. Just a general argument where thought, OK, if things are not going to work out, they're not going to work out. So started then chatting to, went back online, started chatting to other people again, other girls, and then had a message to come back over. And then one morning, a message had pinged up from a girl on the phone, and she kicked me out of the house in my underwear.
So you'd in your eyes, your Sarah relationship had ended. You decided that wasn't going to work. You'd gone back onto the dating apps. Sarah then connected you again, contacted you and said, look, come back, let's try again. You'd gone back. Unbeknownst to you, the apps were still there, but you were just sort of, there was no intent there, and then a message pops up.
Yeah, and then obviously just obviously kicked me out in my underwear, and I'm left outside.
Right.
So I kind of thought, right, OK, well, maybe this is just it. And then I get a message a couple of days later from her saying, look, maybe I made a mistake. Let's try and sort things out. And then obviously back from there, things were fine again for the next few months.
So after she did that, Gareth, what made you go back again? What was it? Was it because you actually thought this could work, or...?
Yeah, I think so. I think because when, and I suppose as I've learned now, is that people kind of look at these vulnerabilities in people, and because I think at the time I wanted to make the relationship work, and because I felt, that we did have things in common, that it could work. Yeah, so...
So then you decided to move in quite quickly. You're living together then. When did it stop being irate about a message and throwing you out of the house in your underwear to the more coercive control, and what sort of things was she making you do?
So when I moved in, trying about the end of October, November time, it was I wasn't allowed a key. I had to pay back rent, because she said, well, look, you've spent a few months here now after I moved out of my own property, so you've now got to pay me back rent and pay me rent going forwards. Then it became slowly the control of the finances. It became...
So just explain what you mean, control of the finances.
So she basically said, now you're living with me, you're the man, you are the earner, so it's your duty to give me money and for me to have control over that money.
So, all of your finances?
So all of my finances, obviously not being given a key towards the house. I then was started slowly to get isolated from friends and family. There was obviously some physical abuse that came into things then as well.
How would that manifest itself? When would that happen?
So if she was having a bad day or things weren't going her way, then she would kind of take it out on me. So it was, you know, things like not being able to sleep with the covers on, sleep on the floor with no duvet, with the windows open as kind of a punishment. So if things weren't going as she thought they would, then it was basically a retaliation onto me. Obviously, there was things like not being able to use the toilet in the house. Was kind
so
of.
She wouldn't let you use the toilet in the house?
No.
What was her explanation?
Her explanation was that she felt that males were not the cleanest. So, yeah, it was kind of, well, you're living with me now, so these are the rules, and this is how you're going to abide by if you want to stay with me.
At this point, because you just said before that she isolated you from your friends and from your family and kind of manipulated the situation, what was going through their minds? They must have been really quite worried about you.
Well, I think definitely my parents saw it and see it. I mean, you know, I had to make up a kind of a code with my mum.
Yeah.
So if she wasn't around, because if I ever had to use, because I had to obviously give up my phone as well, I could only make phone call conversations if she was in the room. I had to, whenever I was asked to give my phone, I had to have my phone demanded to be passed up. So it was difficult, but I think the thing is you feel, I mean, although people could say from the outside, when you look at it from the inside, and I think the other thing is I was always told, this is just a phase. You know, we'll get over these things. It's just little blips. I've got other things that, you know, are maybe not going so well for me at the moment.
This is what she would say. This was her explanation.
Justification.
But Gareth, you are a very sort of sane human being, that you work professionally, you've got friends and family. You're not being allowed to use the toilet. You're being forced to sleep on the floor if she's decided that you've done something wrong without covers. You weren't allowed to shower in the home either. She was making you pay rent, pay back rent, pay forward rent. She took control of all your finances. At what point did you not think this is not okay? That not being able to use the toilet, not being, you know, being restricted in so many ways?
I think when it started escalating, so I think between about the period of November to maybe January time, and it really started, you know, it was very subtle to begin with and then became very accelerated.
Yeah.
But she was always told, look, and this is what people say to me, look, you know, Gareth, why didn't you just leave there and then? But I was always told, well, if you try to leave, I will go to the police and I will say that you tried to, you know, assault me or even worse. And it was, who do you think the police are going to believe? Are they going to believe, you know, little old me or big old you? And I think, and that is the stigmatism that is out there in society, and why male, you know, it shows that it can and does happen to men.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was the moment where you went, OK, enough is enough, I am leaving?
I think it was because I'd arranged, I knew she had an appointment to go to, and I'd arranged to meet my kind of mum in secret to go for a coffee for her.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had to be back at the property at a certain time, because obviously I was also being made to miss meetings and being kicked out of the house periodically and being made to go to the library and other places or walk the streets to work. My mum had seen a message pop up on my phone where she'd said, had I taken a packet of crisps from the house? And I said, well, I just wanted to have a snack when I was out working. And basically, I had a message back that said a load of expletives and derogatory terms and abuse. And right, no, you know, you're definitely not eating again tonight. Even though I could only hardly eat a salad or anything like that anyway. And I think my mum just broke down in tears, and I thought, I can't put, you know, I think that was the realization, is I can't put my family through this. And the next day, I made a phone call to Mankind, to a male domestic abuse charity, and explained to them, you know, and they came back and said, yeah, these are all definite warning signs here of what's going on with domestic abuse, and you need to try and get out. And I knew that if I didn't do something drastic to get out when she was least expecting it, as I just said, I would be probably had up for worse, when it was totally not the case.
Yeah, because she held that fear over you as well. So you found the courage to get out, to report this, and then it all went to court, and then she pled guilty. What was that experience, being in court and seeing her have to listen to what she'd done and then then pleading guilty as well, Gareth?
I think, I mean, there was a side point, because obviously she turned up to court with, you know, Harrods bag that I was forced to buy when I was in Harrods, some very expensive clothes that I was forced to buy or coerced into buying on a weekend away at London. And she turned up to court, and I think it was trying to still have that control and that manipulation. And I thought, no, I'm not going to have this. You know, I'm going to stand up on the stand and go through the evidence and, you know, to see her plead guilty. I mean, I'm pleased in a way because it vindicates and it shows, you know, and the amount of text messages and emails and things, everything that I had, the evidence to document it. Because originally she tried to flip this all onto me. And, you know, and the police even said they were believing that they thought it might have been me. But when you go that and then...
Fortunately, you had the evidence to prove that wasn't the case.
To prove it was not the case completely.
And how do you feel about... So she got 20 months... sentence, but it's been suspended for 2 years, so it's not custodial unless she does something within those 2 years, then she will go to jail. A 5-year restraining order on, so she can't contact you as well. Do you feel like there's been any sort of justice served there?
I mean, I guess to a degree, but, and I mean, this, you know, for, like, coming on the show this morning, the overwhelming kind of public message that's come out there. I mean, like I said, I did not certainly expect it would reach as far as what it has. And I think from looking at the way the public has come back, that, yeah, and I do agree, maybe if it was a man, maybe the outcome would have been different. And I think that's what it seems to be coming back a lot from, and that public opinion and that said, you know, that stigma out there of that this, you know, can and does happen to men. So, yeah, I mean, pleased that obviously that she did plead guilty and it proves that these things can happen to males. But on the other side, I think the sentence doesn't really fit the crime.
Did she ever show any remorse?
No. I mean, afterwards, she contacted my place of work. She put pressure on my workplace and, you know, fractured a lot of relationships I had in work to try and rebuild things, you know. And also just, I think as it goes to show with the court, you know, actually when it got into court, wearing clothes, handbag, you know, accessories, things that she'd coerced me into buying. I think it just goes to prove that I don't think she'll ever, I'm not sure, you know.
She'll ever show any remorse?
Well, thank you for joining us this morning, and thank you for being brave and really kind of shining a light on this as well. Thank you.
No, thank you. I mean, and like I said, if I can help one other male out there and prove that this can and does happen, and to allow them to maybe to get out of a bad place, then this is all, you know, worthwhile doing it. So 100%. Thank you very much.
Have you found love again, Gareth? Have you started dating?
No, not yet. No.
Easy, one step at a time.
But I think a time will come. But it's shown, you know, it's taken me a long time, and I've had to go through therapy and everything. But I've got back to a stage now where my life is in a good place, and hopefully I can move forward from here. So thank you very much.
I think you'd be a catch for anybody out there. You're a lovely person. Thanks, you for coming in and sharing your story. Good luck.
Thank you.